Tonight we continue our series of interviews with candidates in the November election. Our guest is the Republican challenger for state senator in the 1st Suffolk and Middlesex district. In the city, the district includes East Boston, the North End waterfront, and part of Beacon Hill. We'd like to welcome Tom Dooley. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Talk about what you've been doing before you decided to run for this.
In my career, I've had 2 restaurants and a real estate office located on Beacon Hill, Charles Street for 10 years. From 1999 to 2009, I was the broker of my own office, which I opened and employed 6 to 8 agents and brokers at any given time. And all businesses combined, I created 60 jobs and 3 new businesses.
So what made you want to run?
I have always had an interest in government. That's my academic background, Brown and Nichols in Cambridge, American University in Washington. I decided to first establish myself, raise a family, and at this point my children are at an age where they do not need me to the extent that I'm not available for something such as running for Senate. And I've been very disappointed in what's been going on the last years. My former Senator Wilkerson, she is now no longer available and serving a sentence. And so with 3 speakers of the House prosecuted for felonies.
Well, let's talk about Anthony Petrocelli. He's the incumbent you're running against, the Democrat. How does he disappoint you the most?
Well, to be honest, I don't understand how a man can spend 4 years at university, which he did at Rochester University in New York, and return without a degree. It's one thing to begin college and not finish.
Let's talk about what he's done in the State House, because I'm sure people, that's what they're really concerned about.
Well, he initially began in the House in 1999, where Mayor Menino needed to have someone there. And in 2007, Travaglini resigned, and they elevated him to our Senate. But he does not vote in the interest of the constituents. With the redistricting, part of downtown Boston was not part of the district before, so both of us are unknowns here. Say, voting to increase the gas tax by 19 cents, to be against the casino until 2007, and then after 2007 he's in favor of the casino, which is allowing 2 host communities, East Boston and Revere, to the exclusion of Winthrop, which is part of the district, and the rest of Boston. So we have 1 city councilor in East Boston that thinks that's fine. The other 12 Boston city councilors are wondering, why can't we be part of the conversation when there's $150 to $200 million per year in expected casino revenues, and they've already decided where this money should go.
Let's talk about the gas tax, because people who support it usually say it's necessary to deal with the finance problems at the MBTA. What would you do about that? In my website, which is electtomdooley.com. You can just tell me.
Yes, I explain how I met someone retired from the MBTA, and no one had ever suggested segments of the line at night, which means if the red line was originally in 1890 from Harvard Square to Park Street under, why not have service at night on a regular basis from Harvard Square to South Station, Airport Blue Line from the airport to Government Center, Green Line Government Center to one of the universities. If I'm in Cambridge and I don't catch that last red line train, either I walk home or I take a taxi. And for those that come and go from the airport to travel or work, there are just so many people that have a problem just to travel and work, and we need to find a way to accommodate them.
Well, in addition to maybe giving people more service in more hours, what about the money problem? Because what we keep hearing is that, yeah, we just had a fare increase, but next year we might be looking at another one.
Given the fact that the Massachusetts legislature is 80% Democrat, we don't have enough conservatives in the legislature to follow and control where the money goes. The Massachusetts Republican minority in the Senate proposed that they make public the MBTA budget. So evidently the MBTA budget is a private thing of the majority party. And there is a lot of money disappearing. The Mass Auditor released a study that during the last 5 years,
yes, I've seen the auditor's report, but that's not the only part of the problem here. We're talking about a much bigger problem, much more money to be made up, or many more service cuts. So what would you do to prevent that?
I don't want to accuse anyone of stealing, but apparently there's a whole lot of money disappearing and unaccounted for. So they're saying that $100 million is unaccounted for.
Let's say we instantly find that money. Where's the rest of the money going to come from to take care of this problem?
We have an excise. I'm sorry. There's the auto inspection operates at a $50 million a year surplus. The bottle bill runs at a $40 million a year surplus. All these monies go directly annually into the Treasury. So rather than have all that money transferred into the Treasury. It should be not in the general fund, but available to the legislature to apply to the T and other things. And at the T, they say the problem isn't the problem. They don't have a long-term plan where they can say, correct service problems in the long term. Every night they're very busy with repair and maintenance, and that's where all the money goes, repair and maintenance rather than finding a way to correct the internal operational problems of the T train lines.
You have on your website something about bringing down the sales tax. What would you like to do with that? Not the sales tax, rather the income tax, the state income tax.
It's the sales tax. The sales tax was 5%. It was increased on a provisional basis, and then we had a referendum instructing our legislature to return the sales tax to 5%. As in so many things, our legislature does not respect the will of the people. And were I a member of our Senate, I would be very much in tune to what is demanded of the public.
Do you see any kinds of cuts that might have to be made to make things balance out? You want the advantage of the tax rollback, but anything you're worried about being cut or that you'd like to see cut?
So let's say welfare, fraud, and abuse. I won't necessarily bring up the subject of illegal aliens, but we do have a problem of our neighbors coming in from other states, and anybody right now can come into Massachusetts, use an address, and have the benefit of what's known as Romney Care or so many of other Massachusetts welfare benefits. There is no control on Massachusetts welfare.
And you think that would
absolutely
a substantial amount of money there, right?
There's $80 million unaccounted for through one department of Mass Health. So not to even describe the rest of it, but there's with one case, and I think it's on my website, that there's $80 million money spent for medical care of unknown persons, and some of those people are just coming down from other neighboring states.
You mentioned illegal aliens. This is a district, especially in East Boston, that does include a good many immigrants. There has been debate recently about the idea of more proof of residence for getting cars registered. Do you think that was a good idea?
First of all, I have yesterday completed visiting every address in East Boston. East Boston is large, from Condor Street to Bremen, from Maverick Station up to Suffolk Downs. We have visited every legal address in East Boston, and it is 60% Hispanic. The vast majority are legal. There are illegal aliens in Revere. People in Revere, even Democrats, are saying, we want these people sent home. The people of Revere should be heard. In my opinion, we should... there's a reason to show ID when voting. We have to show ID for absolutely everything else in life. It's absurd to think that no one should show ID when they vote, and it's not just a question of illegal aliens voting. We have people voting that are actually in homes, no longer living, on and on and on. So there is voter fraud, and the reason why no one wants to control the ballot boxes is to perpetuate the system we have.
People no longer living voting? I didn't quite follow you there.
If somebody... If a registered voter dies before they correct the voter rolls, if they ever correct them and bring them up to date, someone could actually walk in.
So you know some of these dead souls who've come out and voted?
It happens on a regular basis. There is nobody controlling. If somebody walks in and says, I'm John Smith, I live at Spruce Court, they'll say, well, thank you for coming in, check off the name, and that person can go and vote. Now, if there is such a person and they come in an hour later and say, I'm John Smith, and I also have my passport with me and my license, I can prove it. They say, oh, well, gosh, well, here's another ballot. You can vote as well.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Well, thank you very much.
Tom Dooley, candidate for state senator in the 1st Suffolk and Middlesex district.